Welcome back to part 2. Now let us look at the many sequels of the Outrun arcade game. Now Outrun's first sequel was called Turbo Outrun, released in 1989. It was a conversion kit for arcade owners. This time the game would remain truer to the original ideals of the cannonball illegal race across America. Now you find yourself in a Ferrari F40 car and you have your arch rival who is driving a Porsche 959. The game has lots of neat touches in it, with you now having a turbo button to allow you to go even faster. And at the end of each state, your fickle lady dog of a girlfriend will leave you and join your rival's car, depending on who crossed the finish line first. Blimmin' two-faced cow. But not only that, you'll have to contend with the police in this game as you make your way across America. I actually quite like this game, it is fun, but sadly the grittier, darker graphics combined with the single path that you race makes it a far less compelling game than the original. Still, it's definitely worth your time playing it. The ports here are quite good as well, with the Spectrum and Commodore 64 and the various versions being actually quite solid. The next game that came out was Battle Outrun, which was released in 1989 and was an exclusive game to the Master System. Now basically this is Chase HQ clone, using the Outrun name to sell the game. Still, despite it being a cash-in, it is super fast and great fun to play, well worth your time. The next Outrun game we have is Outrun Europa. Now this was a US Gold game, with Probe doing a lot of the versions. This time you're on the run across Europe and you start out on a motorbike of all things as you make your way through the stages in a variety of vehicles. The game is fast and quite good fun on the Master System, although it has literally nothing to do with Outrun at all apart from having the name on the box. There was also other home ports on the 8-bit and 16-bit home computers, but of them all I think the Master System is the best. Talking of cashing in on games, on the Mega Drive Sega released Outrun 2019, released in the year 1993. This time you are of course set in the future of 2019, where, being only a few years time from us now, we're apparently all going to be driving Batmobile cars. Personally, I can't wait. To be fair though, this is a super fun game, with you going at a fair pace as you hit top speeds. Still, it is another title that has nothing to do with Outrun really, apart from them using the name on the box. No, Outrun wouldn't really properly return to the arcades until Outrunners was released in 1993. This time it really did impress, with loads of different cars to select, and each with their own set of different wacky drivers. Not only that, the branch choices of the stages were back this time, and you had completely two different branch maps to follow, depending whether you went east and west, so doubling the number of stages. I've a lot of time for this game, with the madcap stages and the ability to switch music whilst driving, and even selecting a radio option so you can hear the announcer tell you your position and various things. So the game makes a lot of improvements to the series. Also, this was the first arcade game Outrun to allow multiple machines linked up, so you could race your friends for the first time. There was a port on the Mega Drive, but really this pales in comparison, and sadly Sega has never ever looked to do another home release of the game. The next Outrun sequel wouldn't arrive until 2001. Outrun 2 would be well worth the wait, with Yu Suzuki back on form. The game is brilliant, keeping all that was great about the original and running with it with shinier 3D graphics. This time you have a selection of Ferraris to race as well. Now some people complain that the locales were a little mundane, such as a dreary, foggy Scotland and one level being a construction yard, but with gameplay this good, who cares? Thankfully, a great home port of the game was released exclusively on the Xbox, with the brilliant Sheffield and ex-Gremlin developers Sumo Digital at the helm. and they did an amazing job with it, being almost arcade perfect and sticking loads of extra modes, collectibles and challenges for you to have. Even better, as mentioned earlier, you even had the original Outrun arcade game tucked away, being one of the best versions of Outrun that you can unlock in the game. Now Sega would release in 2006 Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast. This was a conversion kit for the Outrun 2 arcade machine and allows a few other touches to the gameplay such as drifting and things like that. But what's great about Outrun 2006 is a completely new set of track stages for you now to race on. This time the stages are very bright and drop dead gorgeous to race upon, and so improves things even more than over the original Outrun 2. The home port is even better, called Outrun 2 Coast to Coast. Again, Sumo Digital were back on hand to do the sequel, but this time they weren't tied down to do an exclusive game for the Microsoft Xbox, and so this version came out on the PS2, PC, as well as the original Xbox. It's a fabulous version of the game, as it includes all the original Outrun 2 tracks and the new 2006 tracks as well, giving you oodles of challenges, collectibles and multiplayer modes to keep you interested for ages. I cannot recommend this game highly enough, with the only slight strike to it is that Sumo unfortunately had to remove the hidden Outrun arcade game from this sequel. And in 2009 another great port would be done, called Outrun 2 2006 Arcade Classic on the Xbox 360 and PS3. This was also done by Sumo Digital, and it was just a plain arcade port, plain and simple, with none of the extra challenges or extra tracks of the Coast to Coast game. Having said that, with the extra power of the hardware, this makes it truly arcade perfect, and when you combine it with the online leaderboards and online play, this makes it a compelling version to own, and it's such a shame that Sega had to stop selling it when their Ferrari license expired. Well, I hope you enjoyed this extravaganza into Outrun and its 30 years of history. Keep it retro and keep driving, as we all need a bit of sunshine, sports cars and babes in our lives. So until next time, see you later.